Well, hello there, Chick Chat. We're back with another Sister Wives episode. This one's episode 8, right?
Yes, it's called A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing.
Woof woof. We begin by seeing David again. He shows up to Christine's house for a dinner with all of her kids.
Yes, and they make out at the front door.
Yep. A nice Christine hello.
He loves the stuff on his tongue. It's just wild.
And look in his eyes and make all these weird faces. Like she made that weird face again when they had that conversation on the kitchen island about the first kiss thing and how they didn't have their first kiss till their third date. And Tony was like, you usually screw on the third date. And then she gave David like these like that thing she was doing in the last episode at dinner. She was doing that.
This is what Christine's going to do now. She said later on in this scene that she's going to push the boundaries with her kids because they kiss in front of her. So she's going to start kissing in front of them.
Yeah, they've been pushing them.
Boundaries have been pushed. I think it's hilarious that as soon as David walks in the door, Hayden calls him Richard, which is another name for Dick.
I had a grandpa named Richard and they always called him Dick.
Yeah. Like, why else would he call him that?
I don't know.
Look at his face. That's the moment he said it.
I think, isn't Peyton a ginger? I think ginger males have a
life complex.
I have a ginger male cousin that acts very strange.
It's definitely a thing. I know what you mean. For sure.
Very aggressive, joking bunch they are.
Yeah, and McKelty says as much. I mean, she's talking about how you have to be able to give a little bit back of what you're getting to be able to get along in the family. And I agree with that. I think David is a good fit immediately right away. He's just a chill guy. They are going to have to get used to him. I think Christine is very lucky, as long as nothing crazy happens, that she was able to find someone like David who just fits her life so well.
Her soulmate. Even reaffirmed that there wasn't going to be 700 people like you were thinking.
So what's funny to me is I thought that when Christine went wedding venue shopping, that she told the lady that her daughter McKelty had 400 plus guests and told her she was going to have 700 plus guests. And now McKelty looks absolutely stunned to hear the word 700.
Yeah, 700. She's like, I don't think there's going to be 700.
And then she justified her wedding having 400 by saying, well, there was polygamy. And then she realizes that there's polygamy in David's family as well. So now she thinks 700 is okay.
I don't think all of everybody's family is going to be there, but, you know, whatever.
That's crazy. I don't even
a lot, but let Christine have her day. She's excited. She asked at the dinner table if everyone's cool with them getting married. I'm like, you guys already were looking at venues. What do you mean?
They have a wedding date. They weren't even looking at venues. They've secured a venue and a date at the Red Cliffs Lodge.
Yeah. It's happening. She's having a bridal shower. She's doing the whole damn thing. She just hasn't gotten engaged yet. But they do end up looking at rings together. We do get to hear little blurbs from Kody about everything, because obviously when anything happens, they have to check in with him. And he's just kind of like, yeah, I heard she found her soulmate. I figured she'd start dating after she left. Wish you well.
I know. It's just, I mean, I don't know what else he would say. I think he says as much in this episode. He's just very bitter with Christine, so he doesn't have anything nice to say. And I think right now he's trying to not say anything at all. And that's better than what he's been doing for the last 3 to 5 seasons. So.
Well, this is Plaid Shirt Kody, and we got to remember Plaid Shirt Kody in Confessional is a little bit more hostile this season.
Oh yeah, this is not as spicy as it gets here, but he's not heard a thing about it. He doesn't know what's going on. Little does he know, in the very next episode, he's about to meet a man who's going to marry his ex-wife.
That's still married to him in the eternity place. We haven't really worked out all the things yet.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is where we get to Kody's stupid birthday. So.
Yeah, well, Kody does do his own little hostage video.
He did a birthday hostage video. So later on in the episode, Christine and David do go ring shopping. It's a pretty quick episode, so we thought we would just throw it in here. And they do come up with a really cool ring.
Yeah, they actually custom made it and they were matching, so why not make their rings match? So she went for the black band to add, to go with his black band. And she's got her, it looks like a pear-shaped stone in that thing, but it's supposed to be a marquee, which is my favorite because that's what I wear as a marquee. The diamond-shaped diamond, although it is the most controversial to wear because really it does catch on a lot of things. It's prone to come loose time to time because it snags on stuff. But hers is interesting. Her prong situation looks insane, but I'm hoping that's just a glitch with the thing, but I hope it looks a little bit more cleaned up than that.
Yeah, maybe they just haven't figured that part out yet.
Yeah, something going on with that part right there. She likes mixture of metals. She looks like platinum. I think she said
Platinum, yeah.
platinum's a little bit tougher than gold, but it does tarnish like silver, so you do have to polish it. But it is tougher. It will last longer than gold, like the prongs. She's got yellow gold, and then she's got like a black. Looks like onyx.
I think it looks really nice, actually. I really like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that this part is her wedding band, but I don't know because look here. This is all.
Yeah, she's got like a ring that's already together, so she probably just wants to wear just that ring.
Just the whole
And that
thing.
might just be. She's doing everything her own way right now. Okay, she ain't even got a ring yet. She's planning a wedding, so I'm just happy that ring was beautiful. I think it's gonna look a lot better when she gets it in person, and she might just stick with just putting on one ring. A lot of times people will solder their rings to their bands anyways, and then it does just become one ring. So she's just probably doing all that in the first step.
Yeah.
But you can tell she's excited. I mean, I think all those girls need to go ring shopping at one point.
Well, we find out in this scene that Janelle just wants a plain gold band if she ever gets married again, and she'd prefer to just get married in her jeans.
Cute.
That's so Janelle. Just stop it. She won't leave Kody. She won't explicitly tell him to F off. She wants to get married in such a nonchalant way in the future. I hope that Janelle is not resigning her life to some kind of sad, quiet, whatever, because she just can do so much better than getting married with a plain band and jeans on a mountain, which if that's your vibe, that's your vibe. But I just feel like she's trying to hide herself.
That bitch is thriving in limbo. So whatever.
It really, really is. But anyways, Christine thinks that she's super cool now and super edgy because her wedding band is all different metals and black and whatever. But I think it's perfect for them. I think it's really cute that it matches. So good for them.
I mean, they're always matching, so they might as well. She's like, oh, how cute that would be, matching wedding bands. And I'm like, you guys match every single time I see you.
I also thought that it was really precious in the confessional with David, that David just explained that he was single for a really long time and very unhappy, and now he's with Christine and very happy. And I think it's just a really simple way for him to just explain their relationship.
I love how dramatic she is when he was saying all that. She's like, I know, me too, me too. I know.
And I think this is where he was sort of reminiscing about a time where he said he was ready to marry her while they were laying on the floor or whatever. And she was basically climbing up his chest. Like she just was so in love. But I think they're precious. I'm not mad at it. How could I ever be mad at this? It's gorgeous. So cute.
From so cute and a couple coming together to
Kody's 55th birthday.
So Kody gives us a little hostage video situation. We call it the hostage video because Amber Portwood famously did a hostage style video just like this for her daughter. So if you don't understand, that's why we call it this. But he's doing his hostage video. He has had some kind of groundbreaking conversation with Robin last night about morals and all types of things that had years to have conversations about. But now he's decided that he's just going to go back to being just dad.
Yeah.
Just
there
dad.
he is. Look how happy he looks to go back to just being a dad.
Just dad.
Yeah. He said something about he's had a conviction with God, which is also something that happens in his religion. I don't understand how he can keep flip-flopping back and forth to using his religion when it's convenient for him. Now all of a sudden God has mandated him in some way to go back and be a dad, but he could have been doing this the whole time. But when it comes to the conversation he's going to have with Janelle, he tell her to cut the BS when it comes to the religion. So I don't get it. But yeah, apparently for his birthday wish is to be a dad for the 25th time.
Up his 55th year. It took the man 5 years to figure out that he just wanted to go back to being just dad. And then he doesn't do anything to become just dad except ask the moms about how the kids are. It's like, pick up a phone.
Yeah, I mean, at least not yet. Maybe we'll see him do more in the future, but I doubt it. I think we know how this story goes because we're still 2 years behind.
He makes this hostage video, and in this hostage video, he says that he's going to meet with Janelle tomorrow, conveniently. And that hopefully, even though he's supposed to be meeting up with her to talk about property, he's hoping that that'll help bring him closer to his kids. And I'm like, you're going over there to talk about property. You're not going over to talk about your kids.
Exactly. You should have a whole separate conversation for that. But yeah, here we are. So
and talk to your kids yourself. Now can't help you anymore. We go to Josephine's.
Mm-hmm. We finally found out what it is. We've been calling it the B&B.
It's called Josephine's something or other boutique. Something.
And they serve omelets and big old
It's like an intimate restaurant. Kody walks in. He's like, oh, this is intimate.
They have their own little nook room.
You're in someone's like living room. Of course it's intimate. You're in a random office.
This is an attic.
This is somebody's like office room that they made into a restaurant for one table at a time.
Yeah, maybe.
I think this is a house that has different rooms in it that has just like a table in each of these rooms, and they have maybe 7 tables in the whole restaurant.
7 tables, yeah.
And yeah, and it's called Josephine's. But I'm gonna hit this place up, I swear.
This is on the list for our trip west at this point.
Oh yeah, I love how this is intimate. It's like you've had to have been here before. I've seen this place a couple times now.
Yeah, but you're coming here. Their purpose is, like you said, they want to apparently have a conversation about the land. But now Kody has these ulterior motives because he has this conviction from God now. So we'll see how this goes for him.
She's like, "How do you feel about buying me out?" And he's like, "Whoa, you just skipped right to the end. What about us getting back together and you living on the land part?"
I just can't believe it. And he looked so shocked and almost a little sad. I mean, even in this picture, he's looking at her like, "You're just skipping over it all. It doesn't make any sense, sir." Mm-hmm. I understand Janelle's frustration because I know that they probably haven't been as direct as obviously Meri was. She got the whole, "Your souls are terminated." But Christine at the same time was very much, "We are done. This is when we're done." There was a clear ending point in her opinion and all of that. But Janelle is not like that. She wants to sort of live out into the ether and not be very direct about this, which is so weird because she's so direct about everything else, even this land. They're 3.5 months out, which is understandable, and she wants to figure out what's going on. She's freaking out. But yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me how
there is something in Janelle that still
hooked. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes when I see you, I get a little hooked. But honey, I think we'd have to be 2 different people for this to work.
She's so direct with everything else. I'm going to get a lawyer about this land. And then she can't even describe her feelings to Kody, but she wants him to believe that they're done. So I agree. I'm not sure that she's actually done. But we also see, this.
Yeah, she's like, I've said it before. Well, then say it again right now. Be like, we've had these conversations. I have told you this. And so, I don't know. I feel this conversation was strange.
I think it became strange because Kody wants to reintroduce the whole thing about getting back together for them because all of a sudden he has this conviction from God. I think he has been okay for the foreseeable past that it was okay for them to not talk with each other because he didn't care. He wanted his whole thing with Robin and he was kind of done with his kids. But now he has this conviction from God on his 55th birthday and he needs to get his family back together. And he thinks the only way to do that is to get back together with Janelle, which is interesting because Janelle won't get back together with him because of the kids. So they're definitely in a gridlock. It's not going to work out. But he is just bringing this up and introducing this, even in his own words, as BS. So that's why this conversation is weird because Kody's over here trying to talk about let's get back together, but he doesn't actually mean it. And Janelle knows he doesn't mean it. Janelle brought it up like we would be crying and all of this if we were really trying that hard. Neither one of us really care that much. It's so weird because he's manipulating her right now into trying to think that a relationship might happen and a weird love affair if she lives on the land with him and all this stuff. He doesn't want any of that. We all know he doesn't want any of that. He goes into confessionals days later and says it's all BS.
I know. His use of words around Janelle is so strange. Like, do you want to just take up our love affair again? And it's like, love affair? You guys were married. It's not like she is your mistress or something. No, but I think that's how he wants it to be. If in his perfect strange world, because I think in his perfect world, he'd just run away with Robin. But if he had to have Janelle around for the sake of being with his children, then he'd have Janelle come back and live on this land. And then she'd call him over whenever she needs a favor, like she had been for the last 20 years. And maybe they hook up once in a while. I think that that's literally what their relationship has been since they moved out of that single home. Yeah, sad. So they're at this restaurant. Nothing that they're saying to each other is like translating in these confessionals. She seems to be pretty relaxed about him not having answers for her. She's like, well, we have only 3 months to get this land paid. And nothing is done in this conversation. So she's like, okay, well, we'll check back in after we talk to a lawyer or whatever. And then he's like, okay, yeah, we'll check back in. And then in the confessional, he's like, I'm not going to check back in with you. You must be crazy. You betrayed me. You gave Christine your loyalty. You were there for her, and you took these kids. I ain't gonna help you. And it seems like they must have showed her the confessional because she's like, "Well, it's time to get a lawyer." I think.
I think she's been thinking this before. I mean, even before the scene with each other, she said, look, I'm going to try this, but if this doesn't work, I have plenty of other options, and there's plenty of lawyers in town and all this and that. So I think she just realized, too, that Kody's not here to have a legitimate conversation. Janelle was here to talk it over. She skipped to the end because this is the end. Your relationship is the end. It's done. So let's talk about what to do with the land. Let's talk about how to move forward. And he wants to have this diversion about let's reconcile and get back together. And that's just not going to work. I thought that it was really pretty strange. Did you notice the weird hip hop music going on in the background? I wouldn't call it hip hop music. I would call it hip hop music for sister wives because I've never heard them do any kind of music that's not sad or just real bland. But this was like an upbeat kind of like kind of thing. And it was going on when they were talking about the power dynamic between Janelle and Kody, and that Kody said that Janelle would need Kody to give her all the power if they were to get back together, and that he's not interested in that. And it was going through all these little blurbs and whatever. But I just thought it was so Robin. I just thought it was so strange that they had this fast-paced, upbeat music going on while they're talking about the power dynamic and power struggle, I suppose, in the marriage. And the fact that Kody's not interested in having anyone have any power over him, well, that's very obvious, but thank you for saying it out loud. Well, there's one more big part to the conversation with Janelle and Kody, and that's the sacred cow that goes down. So Janelle is trying to respond to Kody's BS about potentially reconciling and what that would look like. And she's talking about how you're always with the little kids. So if I don't have any little kids, then what would you be doing at my house? You haven't been to my house in 2 years. So she says she doesn't have much in common with Robin. And Kody already tries dodging all of that. And she says, well, she's just your sacred cow.
Yeah. He's like, what is the generation gap too big between you and Robin? And it's like, they are 10 years apart, I think. So it might have been a good thought to have before we brought in a much younger sister wife.
Well, even the generation gap between Robin's kids and Janelle's kids. Robin has kids who have kids.
Janelle has kids who have kids.
Yes, I get them all confused. I don't know how Kody did this for this long.
I'm sure there's been many a fight.
I'd be like, lady, you come here.
One interesting thing about this was that Kody said that he now looks back on Christine, but less with regret, which I'm like, regret? You didn't sound like you had much regret other than marrying her in the first place.
Well, that's a regret.
That's the regret, I guess. But now he looks back and wishes that he could have had a more amicable breakup and whatnot. Interesting timing, Kody.
Yeah, and he says that he wishes that, but he also says that he doesn't see how they could ever have a relationship at the same time either. So, like, even a friendship. I don't think Kody knows up from down these days. I think he is generally trying to get back to a positive place as much as he can with everybody, but I think he's done so much damage and he does not fully understand how much work he's going to have to actually do to get back into the good graces with all of his family. It's not just going to be play a pretend relationship with Janelle so that your friends so that your kids can be good with you again. You need to actually call up your friends. Why do I keep saying
friends? Your friends, your children. Crazy thing with this part of the episode is that they're doing one thing during this dinner and then saying another thing the entire time in the confessional. Cody's like, what about us getting back together and you living on the land? And then the confessional, he'll be like, this is just a fool's dream. This is just nonsense for me and Janelle to talk about this. Like, you brought it up to her.
Like, I know, and that's why this conversation feels so weird to watch, because the whole intent, the scheduled, planned intent of this conversation was for them to talk about the land, and now all of a sudden you want to bring up what would it be like to reconcile, and then you're in the confessional talking about some kind of power structure and dynamic that would need to shift that he's not interested in. If you're not interested in any of this, then this is why Janelle skipped to the end, sir, because there's no need for any of this. You guys skipped to the end and then went back to the beginning and never went back to the end. By the end of this conversation, we're right where Janelle said she wanted to be in the beginning, which is we'll talk to a lawyer about this land. No agreement on when it's going to be paid for. No, this is how much money I have. This is how much money I need from you. This is the date that we're going to pay it. I don't know if they would say any of that on camera, but it's obvious that a plan wasn't made either way.
Nothing like, oh, I'll get back with you with the details about this and this. It was just, yeah,
Yeah.
you talk to so and so, and then we'll reconvene, and just more
Well, and then
putting
to
it
go
off.
ahead but then to go and reveal at the same time that if it does work out that Janelle moves into the land, that him and Robin will probably not live there together anyways, because then the ex-wife is living across the street, and how weird is that, and blah blah blah. So
Isn't that weirder for Janelle than them?
you would think, because the way that they've been telling everybody is that they want everyone to still live together and our families to be together and blah 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 blah. But then we hear from Kody, he sees it as a free pass if Janelle wanted to take the land, that he would actually get up and go, which is so funny because everybody is leaving you and you're going to be stuck with this land. And he's like, I'll just stick Janelle with it.
Nothing
No.
he says makes sense. Like last episode, he wanted to buy a big old house to have everybody in. And then this episode now, if they decide to come and live in that house, he's going to leave. And back and forth of him. It's like, so hard to keep up with. Like the man is aging me, I think.
And I don't know why he thinks that he would go move somewhere else, that he would be free or whatever if you didn't live on that land in Flagstaff, because we all know that Robin's not going to move away from Flagstaff right now. Wasn't Robin's whole thing that she needs to be next to Dayton? Isn't Dayton in school somewhere down there? Robin's not going to leave right now. She's got her younger kids are in school. They're not going anywhere. So
This might have been those one weird thoughts, remember, that he was having about leaving all of them? And remember that, wasn't that last season where he was talking about like, oh, fine, take on a new lover, but then I'd be missing Robin the entire time, so then I'd want to go.
That was his fantasy. I don't think he actually wanted to do that. I think he just fantasized sometimes about. That's what he said. I don't know. I'm not.
The man's insane.
I think he wanted to sometimes think about what it would be like if all them ladies would just be quiet and he could go find a lover.
Needs to be in a conservatorship. He's the Britney Spears of plural marriage right now, like knife dancing version of her.
But I wonder about Janelle sometimes myself too, because we also have Janelle over here acting as if she has had some kind of epiphany, learning that Meri was able to get herself a release and that maybe she can go ahead and get herself one too. Look how hopeful she looks. Everybody has known all along, lady, that you can go and get a release. It doesn't matter how long you've been in or out of the religion. Or
the acting skills here, right? Because last episode when they talked about the release or whatever, she's like, yeah, but then he told me about Meri getting a release and good for her, blah, blah, blah. Not for me, though. And then she says, well, I did hear that Meri got a release. And it's like, do we not live in the same timelines? Like, are we all on different dimensional fields? Like, everybody in this show is on a different timeline of things. Confessionals are so confusing. Me and Brooke had this theory earlier about like, at the end of each season, I assume that they all sit down for these confessionals, and then they must be in different moods and different days, and then they're So we're getting a spliced up conversation throughout the whole season, and it's with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Brown, apparently. And it's just constant. You get one thing, then you get a different thing, and you get one thing, and you get a different thing. And sometimes it even happens with the wives. Like, I think Janelle's one of those ones that happens with, where...
Oh, Meri, too. It depends on the outfit. That green camo outfit, she is spicy. She's mad. She could give 2 F's about Kody or really the rest of the family. But in this pink shirt that we're about
she came for war in the camo outfit.
She did. She did. She came for war. She dressed for war. She had a plan when she went into that day of the confessional, how she was going to act. But when we're about to see her for her birthday in this little pink shirt, she's very nice and grateful for her table.
Table. That's Meri. Yeah.
I think we're going to wrap up the long conversation here. I mean, literally nothing happened. I think this statement was more of a closed book on Janelle and Kody as much as we're ever going to get.
Till their next dinner when Kody
I suppose. I mean, they still are going to have to talk about all these finances and the land and all of that, which was the actual point of the conversation. But now they've decided in this conversation instead that they're not going to be together for the 4th time. So they're going to have another conversation about the land, but probably again another conversation about reconciling so that they don't have to talk about the land. That's what this was. That's all that this was. It was interesting to see the way that Kody's over here just trying to offer up reconciliations to people for all these ulterior motives. And
I think when she sat down and was like, okay, you want to buy me out? He was like thinking, whoa, I didn't have any plans on buying her out. Maybe let's just reconcile and see if that'll work. Because once you start talking about money and taking money from him, he was like, oh, wait, no, I don't want that. I don't want
it would be much
money.
cheaper for him to just hook up with her a couple times a year. And then
Okay.
pretend that because he's hooking up with her a couple times a year, that automatically his kids are supposed to be in his good graces again and all of that. Or he's
Mhm.
supposed to be in his kids' good graces.
Yeah, he said all types of weird stuff about Janelle and their physical relationship. And she only wants
His
me for
muscles.
one thing and whatever. But he's so giddy and girly when he goes and meets up with her. Like he'll be like, "Oh hi, hello, it's been a minute."
I know.
It's like keep the same energy at all times because you're so confusing.
So we'll end on Mary's birthday carriage house reveal. Very brief, very short, but I suppose Meri. What?
Do her and Kody have like the same birthday or something?
Their birthdays are in the same week. Yeah, they've talked
Okay.
about this. I don't think they're the same day, but they are in the same week.
They are little twins, aren't they?
They are. No, they're the same. They really are. I was just about to say look at her, but look at her.
Yep.
She looks like
yeah.
Kody.
Nowadays, I kind of think like Kody and Christine look more alike, but I do think that him and Meri were forgotten soul twins or something. They were supposed to be like siblings and they ended up being married. Speaking of Meri, they got her carriage house going on. Is that why she don't rent the B&B anymore? I don't think she rents that thing out anymore. I think now it just must be her workspace and her house and everything.
Well, the carriage house is that separate little outside room.
Oh, her little barn dominium.
Correct. This was an already existing structure in the back of her
Yeah.
B&B that
Yeah.
looked like a garage, but it didn't store a vehicle. It just was like a shed. But now it's this beautiful, what does she call it?
The carriage house.
Carriage house.
It sounds like a charity, though, the carriage house.
Well, in Bay City where we grew up, there was a place called Carriage House. It was an old folks home. Remember? On Midland Road?
Yeah. I guess I'm thinking like Ronald McDonald House.
That's valid.
Yeah, I just feel like it sounds like a good charity name or old people spot, but
yeah.
Or a place for Meri to work. So
place for Meri to work is where it is right now. Place for Meri to do her stripper pole. I mean,
her clothing line. I don't know what her. Have you seen her clothing line? I have not seen her clothing line.
I think she sells for one of those marketing
Lulu Rose or something like that. Like she does something.
Yeah, I don't think she sells her own clothes. I think she sells for a market MLM type.
Okay, she's another one of them MLMers.
Yeah, not like LuLaRoe, or is it LuLaRoe?
I think it is LuLaRoe or something like that, or I don't know how to say the name, but
yeah, she does that. It's not her own. She's not the designer.
I wouldn't think so with hoodies like these.
All she wears these days too is these shirts just like this, whatever.
Yeah, she's always got like a saying on top of a hoodie. Usually a bright color. She likes yellow a lot lately. She's been wearing a lot of yellows and reds. And
so what's funny to me, actually, I wonder if it's in these pictures. Circles exist in this office.
No, that's a pear shape. It's got a point. Well, that's not in the office. Well, I'm just saying. She didn't want a bunch of circles.
These are circles. She said no circles.
She did say no circles, and they did give her some circles. You can't just have a room with absolutely no circular objects in
No,
that.
I completely agree. But
I mean, you can, but that would be very deliberate. Like, very, very deliberate. That's very Kanye of her to walk in and be like, I want no circles. Not a single.
She's Kanye sometimes. When she was building her house in Vegas, well, I want a wet bar.
Not a single sphere.
Yes, what do you mean?
I want to get her a sign that says that. If it's a sphere, it's not near here. Put it up on her.
No sphere near here. But yeah, she talks about not being ready for dating in her confessionals during this scene. I don't know if I have one of those, but she also loves her table and her cake.
Yes, they did get her this cute little bear thing that she got made when her mom passed. They made the bear out of her clothes. And that was just so sweet. The way Meri lit up when she saw that bear, I have never seen her light up like that. So it was beautiful. I'm so glad that there are people like this who care about Meri, who can do these beautiful things for her. Her friend Jen is like her little soulmate, I think.
Yeah, so. I love Jen. I love seeing her go on lives with Jen. I think they're both really funny together. They remind me of you and me. Mm-hmm. So I hope that we are just like them, but better forever.
Something. A version.
Now you all see how Anne responds to me when I'm lovey-dovey.
A version.
You should see me try to hug her, you guys.
Wretched. Almost as wretched as anytime I see like these kind of flowers on top of icing, like regular flowers. I just keep thinking about the icing that's on that flower, and I have to wash the flower.
What's that?
The flower thing they put in the middle of the cake.
Yeah, but is it?
It's not like a food flower. It's not edible. It looks like one you get from the store. You just stick.
Yeah,
And then I think about how it's been sitting in the store, and then you stick it in the cake. It's not. It can't be clean. Like, did you wash the flour? And then you have to wash the flour afterwards because you get all ice. Like, sorry,
you can't wash that. That's paper.
Exactly. When I see stuff like that, like I'm just like,
I guess for some reason
that's just my personal.
My personal feeling.
My personal ick.
We gotta leave that at that.
All right. Well, what do we got for next time, Brooke?
So next time, Janelle's gonna talk to Meri and tell.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I want to see this. She's gonna tell Meri that they've made it official, that they're no longer official. I wonder if she's gonna ask her about the process of going through a release.
I bet that's what that setup was. Of Meri just got released.
Probably. Because why else would she be there, truly? They cry together. They talk about how they didn't think their lives were going to turn out like this. So we'll see how that goes. Christine is going to talk about the moment that she knew that she cut ties and that she hopes that Meri and Janelle move on. Kody and David are going to meet at the family thing for the first time.
I think this is Gwendolyn something.
Okay.
She had like a shower or something. I think it was for Gwendolyn or something, though. That's what I want to say is.
Okay. Makes sense, because I know that there is a wedding coming up for her. So
yes, I believe her wedding was before Christine's, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm not sure exactly the date, but I think you're right. Kody is going to show up there, and he says that he can't imagine that it's going to be pleasant for him and Robin. So I guess we'll see. I mean, David's a super cool guy. I can't imagine it's not going to be unpleasant. Obviously, it's going to be awkward, but nobody's going to.
Cody and Robin love to make up all these stuff in their head. So even if it's totally fine, they're going to be in their head because it's so uncomfortable.
Very much right.
What I think is interesting is we know Gwendolyn's got something coming up, but they don't mention it at all. I don't know if Gwendolyn doesn't want to be filmed anymore or something, but Christine made this weird comment in the first episode. She's like, and then there's Gwendolyn and her girlfriend. If they could just get married and I would be all right with it. And I'm like, I think they are married now.
They are married now, yeah.
Glad future ghost Christine was happy with that.
Christine's future ghost was happy with the future.
Because, I mean, by confessional point, I would think that all this has already happened. I'm excited to see next episode because I really am excited to see Janelle and Meri talk. I mean, even during the original seasons of Sister Wives, you never saw much
I haven't seen them two talk in seasons upon seasons. And the last time I think I saw them talk alone, it was in a therapist's office. It wasn't really, yeah, so I'm excited to see that as well. It seems like it's going to go well. They're both sort of past drama now. Not that there was ever big drama that we saw, but they've always referred to this history. But neither one of them are with Kody anymore.
They must have had some kind of history enough to where Kody had to make a sacred covenant with his fourth wife about.
That's true. Not letting it be that way. Honestly, I feel like Meri's name was mentioned in that sacred covenant. As soon as she saw how Kody is around Meri, she said, in your vows, you have to tell me you'll never let it get like this. And if it does, then he said you must leave. I mean, that's part of their sacred covenant, is that she told him you will leave before you allow it to get this way. And Kody has been back and forth with all three of his OG wives about whose fault is it and who's going to make the choice and da. So, you know what, good for Robin. That's about as close to a effing prenup as you can get in those things. So she got a sacred covenant.
Yeah, she got a sacred covenant and no one else got a sacred covenant. And I think the timing of her sacred covenant, which is obviously before they got married, and that's when everything was looking great to the viewers, right? Where they were going public and everything was great. And we were in a great place and great enough to where we wanted to add a fourth wife and all this stuff. But really, maybe Kody was always feeling this way. Maybe now Kody has always been right and past Kody was a delusion. I have no idea what to believe. Possible.
It's all possible.
But I mean, the sacred covenant is the only evidence I have to support his theory, because why make a sacred covenant when you're happy in all of your other marriages? Why make a sacred covenant to only one?
That's true.
If things are going great in all these other marriages, I'm just saying.
That's true. Good questions.
Questions that'll never get answered, at least not coherently.
Facts.
Thank you so much for joining us, Nick Chat. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Click the share, copy the link.
Share, copy link.
Did it just get randomly dark and purple in your room?
Well, I had the lights on, but it's dark now outside because it's 5:20 here in Michigan, and apparently it's the middle of the night now.
It's looking witchy. Witching hour. Thank you to Tick Chat. We'll be back. Reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.